is 129, day 129 in the 5 a.m. squat club. We're here every morning changing our lives together by building habits that force progress. Today's Saturday, and on Saturday we pick up something heavy, we get uncomfortable for a while, and we talk about a subject that matters. Today, we're going to talk about why you shouldn't wear shoes so much. But first, we've got a 5-step program like we have every day so that we force progress. We get up nice and early, we never press snooze, we drink water instead of coffee. We prime our minds by choosing our first thoughts. We'll warm up our body, make sure that we're ready for our intensity. Then we clear our minds and make progress every morning. So if that's something that you're interested in, you're in the right place. Step 1, we're going to get down into our squat and prime our minds together. Let's go. All right. So first step, if you're uncomfortable in this squat position, grab yourself a counterbalance or a door frame or something that you can hang on to and stay down there. And we're going to choose our first thoughts for the morning. We do this every day and we just repeat them. And the more times we do that, the more real they become. So first thing is, I am responsible. If I'm going to reach a goal, if I'm going to fail, it's on me. I don't want to blame anybody else. It's on me, right? I'm responsible. If I'm going to get there, nobody else is coming to do it for me. I will make time between stimulus and response so that the response that I give is something that I'm proud of and not just a snappy one. I will make time between, just said that one. I will focus on progress over perfection. I have all I need to succeed today. If I focus on the big outcome that I'm aiming for, hard to take the steps, right? If I see the big picture, it can be overwhelming. So if I focus on my daily manageable chunks, which is what we are here for, progress becomes systematized and it becomes inevitable. And the last one is I choose gratitude. And it's just in those moments when we see all the negative that we need to make sure that that you see the positive, because it is there and we see what we focus on. So if I can focus on more positive, I will see more positive. So I am responsible. I will make time between stimulus and response. I have all I need to succeed today and will focus on progress over perfection. And I choose gratitude. So let's get moving here. Good morning, Jason. Good morning, Kenneth. Good morning, Yaroslav. Kenneth, 2 days in a row. I love it. So we're going to get up and get warmed up here. And then we'll get moving. Hey, look at that. Is Magenta here with us today? I'm not sure she is. Okay, so we've got our general warm-up up on the board, up on the screen here. And we're going to do that, but as you can see, today is Sandbag Saturday. So we're going to pick that up. That's our focus for today, maybe 15 minutes or so. We're going to talk about shoes. So hop in the warm-up here. You can follow along with what's on screen there. You'll see there's some knee raises, good mornings, lunges, burpees, and air squats. So let's move through that. This is in the way. And let's get ready to pick up our sandbag on this fine Saturday. We're actually going to the fair today. It is definitely fall fair season around here, and our little town fair is actually one of the first ones. Basically, for this whole season, you could go from fair to fair every weekend and do all that kind of fun stuff. So we'll be heading out there this morning, likely. All the stuff that I really want to see is in the evening, but eventually those girls will be old enough and we can go see the Destruction Derby together. It's a little past their bedtime right now, but that's definitely my favorite part of the fair. You guys go to the fair. How we feeling this morning? We feeling stiff? We feeling loose? Any tension from the push-ups? Or what did we do yesterday? Yesterday was pull-ups and power snatch. Squats, back squats. How are the legs feeling? How is the upper body feeling? Spencer, good morning. Good morning. Spencer, you could join us for this. You could grab a sandbag probably and hang out. So if you don't have a sandbag, if you're here and you're thinking about that, I think I know Yaroslav last week used a heavy bag. That's a great option if you have an old punching bag. Last week I wrapped up a rock in some blankets. If you weren't here, looks like that. You could pack up a backpack with some, with some weights in it, some books or some whatever. I'd probably put some blankets in there just to make sure that it's not too pointy. You could always grab like a med ball if you've got a heavy enough one, or a D ball or something. But we'll go over that stuff again in a minute. Even like a bumper plate you could hold. Just put it on the shoulder, on the back, but we'll talk about it. Use a ruck. Yeah, that's a great option as well. Take your backpack, load it up. You got it. That's what we, Saturdays were actually a little ruck until I realized it was just too dark to try to film out there. So now we do sandbag Saturday. I think it's a little bit easier, more convenient. I can actually see the screen and talk to you guys while we're doing it and respond. So that's gonna be the Saturday theme. And then Sunday, we're gonna keep on with the active recovery theme. So, finishing up our second round warm up here. And we're gonna get into our sandbag. We also have our push-ups afterwards today. You can take a minute while you're warming up here if you want and press that like button if you haven't already. I think you guys are probably pretty good at that already. Consistent YouTubers. Missing Jody here this morning so far. Wonder if she's sleeping in. Kenneth, were you watching any shows late last night? Were there anything in the Sevoniverse that was late? Spencer says, I got the 30 kilo one next to me, but she's sleeping. Imagine you could carry her around while she was still sleeping and she wouldn't even notice. That'd be a good workout. Also, 30 kilos might not be enough for you, Spencer. Strong guy. Okay. All right. How we feeling warm up wise here? Just the beast. Oh yeah, right. He was on at, was that 8:30 or something? Or no, it was 8 Central. So let's talk about this. I'll show you my few options here. We'll talk about technique. We'll talk about options for hanging onto this thing. Whew. I'm breathing already. So next step is gonna be our workout. As you can see there, pick up a sandbag or other weighted object. Don't put it down. The idea is we're gonna bear the load while we, speak of a truth in our society that maybe we should question or think about. So, if you have, say, a med ball, go ahead and maybe I'll do all the demos here. Hopefully our med ball is not falling apart, covered in duct tape. But here's an option. You can put the ball or the weight on the shoulder. Switch shoulders. You can hold it like a bear hug. You could always put it on the hip. I don't know if you can see me here. There you go. Put it on the hip and do a little lean like if you were holding a baby or a kid. Because of my anal nature, if you do decide the side, I'm gonna suggest that you try to even it out and you do both sides, because you'll notice that one will feel better or easier than the other. And you probably wanna make sure that we're nice and even. Good morning, Jody, there we are. And another option And I don't know if this is realistic. Could be to lean it on the back, take a break there, and that's probably a bad option, especially if you have a ponytail. It's definitely pulling on my hair. So maybe that's not the greatest option, but you can think about any position in there that is reasonable for you. We'll talk for a second here. She's here. Yes. Welcome, Jody. We could talk about a little bit of technique on stone / sandbag lifting here for a sec if you'd like. So if you have something that's heavy and you struggle getting it to the shoulder, we'll talk about some stone technique here. I don't know if you can, yeah, you can see that. So what I want to do, a few steps here, right? First is a deadlift. I want to get my hands underneath this thing. Right, so I might rock it back and forth, get the fingers underneath with a nice straight arm. From there, I'm gonna deadlift to the hips. I'm gonna put it on my lap and sit down a little bit, wrap myself around it tight, as close to the hips as I can get it, and as tight into the body as I can. And then I'm gonna roll it up the shoulders, or up the chest by driving hard with the hips. As you can see, hip drive, and then it comes up to the shoulder, and then you can support it there or somewhere else. Got myself a sandbag. Went and picked up some sand yesterday. Most of it was wet. So, I don't know. You guys got any experience with this? Is this gonna mold? I'll probably have to open it up and air it out. Or maybe even dump it and refill it. But I figured, get it done. All right, let me know how we're doing here. I think I'm pretty close to being ready to picking that thing up. So take a sec, choose your option, let me know. We'll get that ready. We'll see how long we end up going here. Anybody not have something to carry? How we doing? Give me a thumbs up or something. While you're doing that, remember, if you haven't liked, do that. And if you haven't considered joining us on school, that's where it happens. Monday, 2 days from now is our next Momentum Monday, where we get together and do our goal setting work. We not assign our goals, but choose our daily actionable tasks. We check in on them. We ensure progress. Feedback, guys, how we doing? We ready? Wakey wakey, I'm ready to start here. Jason's got a thumbs up. Yaroslav just tried carrying both of them. I think it's doable. Hopefully my grip will be strong enough to hold on like that. When you say both of them, you mean 2 kids? You have a kid on each shoulder? What's that look like? Kenneth should look up how to make a pie egg when you get a chance. Basic sandbag ruck weight. Pie egg. Okay, I like that. It's like a DIY thing. I like DIY stuff. I could have different weights because obviously that's not super versatile. All right, well, I'm assuming that you're ready. I got a thumbs up from Jason. If you're not ready, let me know. Music. Let's see, we'll switch it up. We'll go with this one. Can you hear that? Not too bad. All right, pig, egg. Pig, egg. Yeah, I think you typed it right both times there. Okay, timer's going on. We got music. It's probably not loud enough. How's that? Reasonable? Okay, let's do this. 10 seconds, team. Pick up that thing. Try not to put it down. Oh, it's much nicer than the rock. It is, well, maybe I take it back. I was gonna say it was more comfortable. It's more comfortable because it kind of absorbs onto my shoulder, but it's maybe 30 pounds heavier. I think this one 115-ish. Yeah, this is not gonna last 30 minutes, but here we go. Jody, I am as ready as it gets for being late, lol. Hey, no big deal. Yaroslav, yes, one on my back, other on the front, nice. Okay, so I don't know if you've noticed, but every morning here, I don't wear shoes. You can see that. I don't know if you guys wear shoes when you work out at home or not, but I have thoughts on this. I have thoughts on how or whether we should wear shoes, what types of shoes we should, and when we should wear them. Because you know that the filter that I run all my decision making through is generally, how do we get here? What have humans done for the longest period of time? And then you can kind of assess like how we've gone wrong by looking at how far we've gotten from those natural things. So I'm going to talk about a few reasons why we've lost connection there and why shoes are a big barrier. So first one, I mean, I see people all the time and they say they have flat feet, right? And you look at them and they're, I don't know if you can see here, but basically everything's collapsed in like this, right? The arches are collapsed. And the feet just look like a mangled mess. If you probably don't do this as much as I do, but if you start looking at people's feet, you'd be amazed at how weird some of them look. And, you know, oftentimes we're told, or people think that, oh, this is genetic. You know, my mom or dad have flat feet, or they have bunions, or hammer toe, or whatever, and you think it's genetic. And it's the same as anything here, right? We are learned behaviors, you know, so when you think that you're fat because you're genetic, no, you just learned how to eat wrong from your parents, and that's the genetic connection. So with the feet, same thing. It's not a genetic problem that your feet are flat or that you have bunions. There's something else causing that. There's an underlying reason. And what it is we've lost the use of the muscles in our feet because we wear shoes so much. So if you think about it, and I don't know the number, but there are many, many small muscles in the feet, in the toes, in the ankle that support that arch. And in the end, the arch in the foot is supporting everything upstream. So if you think about it, if your feet are, this isn't bad. If your feet aren't healthy, you can imagine that you're probably gonna have ankle, knee, hip, potentially spine problems upstream from that. I can give you a little story. This is not the most comfortable position, but I used to volunteer at our local Boys and Girls Club. Actually, the owner of CrossFit NCR, Reza Mashkouri, business partners with Paul Tremblay. I was actually volunteering with him there, Reza, and we were playing soccer with some kids, and I smashed my foot into some, I don't know if it was an ankle or a leg or whatever, some kid kicked me, and like for the next 2 years, I basically didn't bear weight on that right foot. And what I've noticed is that, just a sec, is that arch wants to collapse a little bit more. And I notice that the foot likes to kind of turn out a little bit more. And these are the things that you want to be aware of when your feet start to do funny things to try to adapt to a situation that you've caused. But as a result, that foot generally doesn't do what I want it to do. And I think a lot of us probably are unaware of what our feet are doing because we're not watching them, but pay attention to your feet. See how they line up. See what the arch looks like. But, so I took that. This is Frankie. Hello, what's going on, man? Welcome, Frankie, you joining us? So, that foot was always a little funny, and as a result, I'd get knee pain and other upstream discomforts. So I started looking into, you know, what to do about that, and you find, obviously not wearing shoes, you find arch work like taking your toes and grabbing a towel or something on the floor or a mat. This is much harder than last week. And building that arch back up, right? Using those muscles in your feet to do what they're supposed to do. So when you wear shoes, you're basically restricting your foot's ability to do what it's supposed to do. You know, we wear shoes, I guess, for two main different reasons. You know, the first being function, you know, performance. You wear a shoe so you don't stab yourself on a rock or a shell or whatever. You wear them because you think they're gonna help you run or help you lift or whatever it is. And then the second reason is aesthetics, right? And we wear what I think are the stupidest things on our feet to look a certain way. And I guess this happens more with women than with men, is you've got, you know, like a super high heel, or, well, I think the heel is the big one, or like a super narrow toe box. And then you wonder why your posterior chain is so tight. Imagine this, right? You're wearing a high-heeled shoe. Your toe is down here, your heel is up there. Everything on your posterior chain is shortening. I've met some people at the gym who have worn, you know, a 4-inch heel for a long time, and as a result, like, they can't do a good morning. They can barely hinge over because everything is so tight back there from just constantly being shortened. I think the point to take away there is that our feet will adapt to anything. You know, the idea I was mentioning, it's not genetic. And this is it, right? Your body will adapt to the stimulus that you put it under in an amazing way. So if you don't believe that, you're doubting your body's ability and its natural adaptability, healing, and all that. So think about, humans are not born with shoes, right? When you come out of there aren't shoes on your feet. You go to lots of places, they don't wear shoes. We've been evolving for far longer without them than we have. It's just another one of those examples or reasons that we've got so far away from our nature and being healthy, and we've become, I don't even know how to describe it, fat, sick, obsessed with ease of use and convenience. And we've lost our connection to how humans should move, live, and be. If you want performance, right, any kind of athletic performance, if you don't have a good base, if you don't have a good foundation, can you imagine how hard it is to produce force, produce power, generate speed? So think about it, your feet are the thing contacting you to the ground. They are the closing of the system, right? The connection between the earth and your body. And if the feet are not supporting properly because they're rolling in or they're turned out or they're, you know, the front of the foot because you have a bunion is all twisted, then you're not applying force up the body properly. And your body is going to, as I was saying, going to have to adapt to those bad positions now, and likely going to create some sort of maladaptation upstream where something else gets injured and hurt and whatever. Frankie says, how heavy is that bag? I think it's about 115 pounds, Frankie. It is getting uncomfortable. I only weigh currently under 160, so this is a good portion of my body weight. What are we saying here? Spencer says, some people go wrong by thinking I like barefoot, but are always barefoot in the house on flat ground. Flat is very unusual in nature. It wants the support from uneven ground. And Jason says, are you suggesting we will see you making farm fence bare feet? Hopefully someday, Jason. But back to Spencer there. I agree, right? Spencer is talking about, you know, just being barefoot on flat ground and how that's pretty unnatural, and how realistically, like, if you want a healthy foot, you know, you need to be walking on uneven things. And that is obviously right in line with what I'm talking about, right? You wouldn't have just walked on flat ground. You know, I'm gonna go back to our evolution, our caveman days. You would have walked everywhere. And this is maybe another good point here. There's a trend nowadays, and it makes me laugh because it's so stupid, the name of it. And it's called grounding. It's basically just putting your feet on the ground. And the fact that there is like a hip, cool term for this makes me just so frustrated with our society. But do that, right? Like, there is definite value, whether you think it's woo-woo or not, in putting your feet on the ground. You know, if you want to talk about it from a energy perspective, or just from the basic point that the ground is uneven outside and you're on a much more natural surface, which is going to be much more beneficial for building and maintaining the small musculature in the feet, which, as I'm saying, in the end is going to give you a better base of support for anything that you want to do. And on that, you know, just being barefoot, we'll continue on Spencer's trend there. Just being barefoot is not enough. You want to, ideally, what you want to do is all of the activities that you do, from training to washing dishes, whatever, any physical task in your life, that you are able to do that barefoot, so that you develop the capacity for all those different things. You know, I think of something like sprinting, and you're going to, well, it's just like you've seen the side-by-side pictures of the marathon runner and the sprinter. You can imagine that it's the same for the feet. If you haven't seen one of those pictures, the marathon runner obviously is very skinny, doesn't have a whole lot of muscle, but can run a long distance. And then the sprinter kind of looks like a bodybuilder, lots of muscle, especially in the legs, even in the upper body. And you can imagine your feet as the same thing. If you want strong, muscular, developed feet, push them, jump, run, sprint, throw, do explosive things, not only just walking around. Oh, another one. So when my foot was all messed up from that soccer, I didn't know any better, and I went to see a friend from university who is a podorthist. What that means is they make orthotics. So she had me do like a gait analysis. I walked on the treadmill and she did some videos and watched my feet, and then ended up making orthotic just for my one foot. And at the time I didn't think much of it because it kind of made me feel better, made me a little bit more even in the hips. But the more I think about it, and the more I see now people who wear orthotics in their shoes, the more I realize that's a crutch. Right, if you put that thing under your foot, those little muscles in your foot no longer have the need to work and support that. So if you want to improve your foot health and build your arch back and build up the muscles in that foot, orthotics are the last thing, right? It's just like if I want to build muscle, I don't want to cast it. I don't want to keep it still. I want to be able to maintain that range of motion so I can actually use those muscles and build it up. Frankie, I have done just about every workout possible, but holding a 100-pound sandbag is new to me. I'm game to try this. We do this every Saturday, Frankie, but we're here every day doing a different workout. Saturday is sandbag, Sunday is active recovery, and then throughout the week, we do constantly varied functional movements with intensity. Okay, back to feet. Talking about casting, orthotics will do the opposite of what you want it to do, right? Anytime you don't rely on the muscles themselves, the system gets weaker. So So it's all about accountability, personal accountability, holding yourself responsible for your life, your health, your fitness, what you do with your life, all of it, it's up to you. So if you want better performance, better health, less pain, consider not wearing shoes as much. And obviously there are times where that might be necessary, right? I live in Ontario, Canada, and for 6 months out of the year, we're under ice and snow. So am I gonna go barefoot out there all the time? Probably not. Am I gonna go out once in a while to give my feet some exposure to that? Yes, for sure. And then when I can and I'm in places that aren't frozen solid, I'm gonna take off my shoes. And in the summer, I'm gonna do it as much as possible, right? I am the guy at the gym that everybody thinks is crazy because I do all the exercise barefoot. You know, they're like, oh, you're gonna do double unders barefoot? Yeah. You're gonna do box jumps barefoot? Yeah. You're gonna run outside on the road barefoot? Yeah. Because the only way you're gonna adapt is by doing it. The only way those feet are gonna get stronger and better is by doing it, is by putting that strain and discomfort on them so that they're forced to grow, right? So if you've got flat feet, you know, a narrow toe box, bunions, hammer toes, flat feet, it's not a death sentence. It's just a reminder that those things need a little bit of work, but it can come back. So hopefully what we can take away from this is just every once in a while, you know, you double think, double think, that's not the right word. You think again about whether you want to wear shoes for that activity, for that day, or whether maybe you could forego them and focus a little bit on foot strength. Okay, that's 18. We're gonna do 2 more minutes just to even it out. So if you got a question, I don't know if you can type while you're holding your sandbags, but what else have I got? Yeah, without shoes, another one, you're gonna improve your proprioception, right? Proprioception is your awareness of your body in space, right? You'll see people who don't work out, who aren't athletic, they look awkward, and oftentimes they move in ways that seem strange. That's a lack of proprioception, a lack of coordination. And proprioception, like if I'm not connected to the ground, what can I feel? What can I really assess in terms of forces and loads and balance? That's what your feet are meant for. There are 200,000 nerve endings in your feet. Wow. You wear shoes, you're dulling that whole system and not getting most of the feedback that you would be getting from the ground up into your body. So many reasons, I almost lost that, to consider not wearing shoes. At least sometimes it is how we're built, right? If you want to walk properly, run properly, squat, jump, then take off your shoes and let your feet learn how to do the work or remember how to do the work, get that strength back, become a human again with your feet. The sandbag is so sweaty. 15 seconds, guys. Hang on. If this has been easy, feel free to keep that on there while we talk afterwards. 5, 3, 2, 1. There's 20 minutes. How do we feel, team? Last week, we did 30 minutes, and it was easier than that. That was much harder. My arms are fatigued. My chest is fatigued. How do you guys feel? Just getting some cracks in there. I like that. The sandbag is much nicer because it's a little bit softer. You can handle the extra weight without it digging in too much. How we doing, team? Give me some feedback here. Thanks so much, Frankie. We're here every day, man, working hard, making progress in our lives. We got you woken up? Perfect. Even if you don't come work out with us, Frankie, you can come and watch us every morning. All right. All right, let's, we'll chat here for a sec and maybe get a little stretch in before we do our push-ups. Yaroslav, nice workout. The grip was challenging for us. Had to swap guys a few times, but a lot of fun. That's so cool. Yaroslav, I want to see next weekend. I want you to take a video of that. I want to see you with the boys on your shoulders. I like that. Let's do this. We're going to get into a, what is this called? A child's pose. So, what we'll do, I'm going to see if I can see you guys at the same time. Yeah, let's do this. Let's just go sit yourself on the shins. You can widen out the knees if you want. And then just drop the chest down towards the floor with the hips open there. We'll talk for a minute. Frankie, we got push-ups in just a few minutes. Jody, interesting. Spencer, thoughts on toe spacers? You mean like for painting your toenails, Spencer? Yeah, so I waffle on the toe spacer, right? I feel that's a little bit, it can be used as a crutch, right? It's a good question. And I had this conversation with one of our coaches recently. And I think in combination with some exercise, a toe spacer can be a good reminder. I think really that's the value in it, is you feel there's something there and it's a reminder to like, oh, should I try to do this on my own, right? I mean, if I don't have the ability to like open up my toes from a closed position, this may be weird, like that would be something that I would want to work on. Because understand that this is not nearly as wide a base of support or strong as that, right? And if you can open up your foot, I mean, if you see people who live in communities where they don't wear shoes, their feet are like hands, right? They're able to like grab at things and manipulate their toes individually. And like, that's how we're supposed to live. That's what they're supposed to be able to do. But we've just gotten so far from it, right? So another second in here. Jody, I got it on my back a couple times. They just kept walking in circles. Yeah. Was it challenging to get it on your back, or would you have to lean over a whole lot to support it there, Jody? How does that work? Frankie says, let's do some push-ups. Yeah. Are you going to do them with us, Frankie? And then Yaroslav, I will take a photo. Fantastic. All right. So push-ups are next. Just, let's talk about that. So, the push-up challenge. We'll bring him up here. This is Do Hard Things 365. He's at 1,245 push-ups today. Remember, that's not our goal necessarily, but it is one more than yesterday. So our focus is that I don't want to do too many today because we have to do another one tomorrow and the day after. I'm at 62 today. So the goal is another, 38 days of this at least to get to 100. So we don't want to go too crazy any one day unless you think you can add more than one rep today because yesterday was too easy. But that's up to you. Spencer, 100%. I just remembered them after looking at your thumbnail of the feet and thought of small toe boxes smashing them in. Yeah. It blows my mind that people do that. That we choose this like strange looking shape to put our foot in just to look pretty. I don't get that. All right. Jody, I do not recall how it got on my back. but it was comfortable. I have a tubular bag. Oh, okay, so you can kind of throw it over your shoulders. I like that. Makes sense. All right, so let's talk about the standard for the push-ups. Frankie. So the idea is that you're gonna maintain a plank position for the whole set of push-ups, whatever that number is. So you can hang out here, you can hang out on one hand or the other hand, shake it out, roll it out, whatever, or push-ups. I'm just gonna take a second here and loosen my forearms because they're feeling a little bit cranky. If that's the case with you as well, if your grip is feeling a little tired, point the fingers back towards you, and then if you need more, just shift the shoulders back behind them just to get a little stretch through the forearms here first, and then we'll do our push-ups. I gotta try to make sure we don't go too long today because I gotta get animal chores done before we go to the fair. All right, this is feeling good enough, I think. If you haven't been here before for these push-ups, it takes a little while, right? You're gonna take breaks in sets there just without putting the knees down, without piking. But this gets pretty tiring, so be aware if this is your first one. All right, we ready for push-ups? Let's do it. Is this the only song I got here? Yeah. We're going for it in 10. 62 today for me. 3, 2, 1, let's go. 14. That's my biggest set to start. 14. Is that 48 to go? $20. It's supposed to feel. Ain't got time to kill, I got time to feel. I took a red pill. I know life's short, so I wanna live real, but how's it supposed to feel? 30. Jody says, I'm gonna stretch first and do my push-ups afterwards. Great set there, Coach, thanks. I don't know, is that 20? Lost count there. Shoot. 20, 25 maybe? Yeah. Nice. Jeez. $40. $36. Keep it up, team. Let's go, team.
Got time to kill, I got time to feel. I took the red pill. I know life's short, so I wanna live it now. Is it supposed to feel?
56. How we doing, team? Harry Andrews, thank you. Yes, Adam. 62. Oh, 4.5 minutes. Yes. Good job, team. Finish him up. One big set. Yaroslav, I'm back to push-ups. What do you say? 28 today. The shoulders hurts, but much better. Yaroslav, tell me about that shoulder. Maybe I can give you something for it. Harry Andrews, you doing push-ups? How we doing, bud? Are you from Sevon? All right, let's finish up those push-ups, and then we'll get into a chest stretch. I think I'm feeling like I need that again today. Jason, how many did you do today? I feel like you've got a lot to do. Although I keep saying that, right? All right, finish those push-ups. Well, let's get it, and we'll chat about our most important stuff. Harry Andrews from school in the UK. Fantastic. Harry, you think you're gonna start working out with us a little bit? It's what, noon there or so, 11:30 a.m.? Jason, have a great day. What are you off to do today? Jason, you gonna go to the Renfrew Fair? Okay, so just get one arm up the wall. I like to do it kind of at a 45, a little bit above parallel. I find that gives me a better pull. Yaroslav, you want to tell me about that shoulder? Where do you get pain? What does it feel like? Harry says, yup. Does that mean yup, it's noon, or yup, you're going to be working out with us? Harry, what's your routine look like? What's your normal exercise looking like? See you, Jason. Yeah, what are you guys up to today? Jody, is it fair season where you're at as well, or is that a little bit, a couple weeks later? If you go to the fair, I guess a lot of people don't go to the rural fall fairs. Is that something that happens for you guys? What about you, Spencer? You ever do that kind of stuff? Go check out some local critters and farming practices. I'm gonna get another one per side here. Share. What's our plan for the weekend here? Yaroslav. After some unsuccessful handstand push-ups a few months ago, I've had occasional pain in the rotator area. The last time it started hurting was after the danger zone workout. Okay. Do you get it? Are you getting it basically in the front of the shoulder here, Yaroslav? Kind of the, what do we call that? Like the long head of the bicep kind of thing? If so, basically just the things that cause it pain, right? If you're getting pain in the push-up, back off a little bit. You can always, it could be just like we need some more activation of the posterior chain of the shoulders. you know, and getting some more T's in, and just opening that up, right? So the more that you're able to, even from, so if you take that arm lower down, Yaroslav, if you take that same stretch, but instead of taking the arm up the wall, take it down and turn away. See if you can find that pull in there. If so, that's probably where you want to be. And even feel free to give it some massage. So get the thumb in there and just press down into it. Jody, fairs starting for sir. Tractor pulls, horse pulls, very cool. Yeah, I love to see that stuff. Will you head out to that, Jody? Will you go see that? And Spencer, there's horses and petting zoos and stuff down the street. Went to an animal sanctuary 2 weeks ago. Nice. Does your daughter like that kind of stuff, getting to the fair? Okay, so I'll turn away. I'll do one of those with you, Yaroslav. We'll get them nice and low. That actually feels really nice. And just give me any thoughts on feet, right? Was that a crazy talk? Did that offend anybody? Anybody like really into shoes? Anybody work for a shoe company? What are your thoughts on that? Is that against what you were thinking? Will that change anybody's, you know, habits in terms of what you wear on your feet, when you wear it on your feet, and how you make those decisions? I mean, even more so, what do we think about these sandbag Saturday topics? You know, because generally what I'm going to do is I'm going to choose something that's on my mind. If you're familiar with Family Guy, there you. Spencer says I'm very offended. I like it. If you used to watch, well, I don't know if it's. I'm assuming Family Guy is probably still on, but Peter Griffin on Family Guy used to have a segment on the local news show, and it was something like "What Grinds My Gears" or something. And you may be able to tell that I'm relatively opinionated, and I have strong thoughts on certain things. So this is kind of my, what grinds my gears segment. So I'm going to choose topics that I think, let's say, society has gotten wrong, and I'm going to give you my opinion on it. So just let me know if this is something that you appreciate these Saturdays. And any feedback on how they can be improved is greatly appreciated, as I want to do this for a long time, and I want to make sure that it's valuable for you guys as well. So let's go here. Yaroslav, I use resistance band to stretch it during the day. This helps. And massage. Yeah, there you go. Harry, ex-military, so naturally it's mostly similar. It's 10:30 here. So weekend workouts I'll be joining. I've got an ultra run in a few months, so running is my main priority. Have a good and all injured right now. A good and all injured? What's that? Have a good and all. I'm missing something. I'm assuming that's a typo. Harry, we're not in the UK, but thanks for your service. So you do a little bit of strength training to supplement your running as well, right? I hope so. If you mind me touching on that, right? Running is sport. Just like, for me, farming is sport, or any other sport is sport. And in order to do that sport effectively, don't just practice the sport, build a base of strength so that you can hit that sport without injuries, right? People will come into our gym and I'll say, hey, what do you do for exercise? And they'll say soccer. And I'm my response to that is always like, yeah, though, that's your sport. That's where you go and injure yourself. What do you do to create a base of fitness so that soccer doesn't kick your ass? Because, I mean, it's just so many injuries if you don't have that base, right? Jody, I do a lot in my bare feet in my gym. Wish I could go barefoot more often. Why can't you, Jody? You can go barefoot whenever. You can be that weird person. You can be that one that we showed up to, it was last year. Although I have one from this year as well. Our head coach got married, and I showed up wearing a pair of shoes because my wife forced me to. And we got there and he goes, "Why are you wearing shoes?" Because he was so used to me not wearing shoes that it was like, I don't want you to not be yourself when you're here, so take off your shoes. And then another example, another one of our coaches got married this year. to be honest, I thought that their wedding was going to be in their backyard and it was outside. So I didn't even bring shoes. And we're on the way there and my wife goes, what are you going to wear on your feet? And I was like, what do you mean? And she's like, it's at an office building. So I was, needless to say, the only one barefoot at this wedding. But who cares? You know, like if society thinks that you look silly for not wearing shoes, you know, maybe this is just me not giving a shit about that, but like, who cares, right? You know, society is going to judge you for not drinking alcohol. Is that what you should follow? No. What are we saying here? Frankie, I have no complaints about how you're running the show, man. Thanks so much, Frankie. I hope you join us again. Hopefully, you get in some workouts with us. This is the way to build a good habit. Spencer, going into further talk about barefoot on flat ground through the lens of PRI, Postural Restoration Institute. I'm not familiar with that. They say it's good to have proper shoes where your feet can sense the big toe and arches, because walking around on flat ground barefoot, your body loses that proprioception with the ground because it isn't touching. Makes sense to me. Explain that that comment about they say it's good to have proper shoes where your feet can sense, because I'm just maybe I'm not following how your feet would sense better with shoes on versus not. And yeah, I completely agree with the flat ground thing. But if, like, think about this, if the only options are, like, if you only walk on flat ground, let's say hypothetically, and your options are barefoot or shoes, I'm still gonna take barefoot on flat ground over shoes on flat ground every day. Because, you know, maybe it's not perfect because you're not getting that uneven surface to, you know, to build the proprioception a little bit better, but still better than wearing shoes, the way that I see it. All right. I've been not stretching whatnot for long enough. I'd say that's a fantastic start to our Saturday. Thanks so much for showing up, new people, Harry, Frankie, and then our regulars. You guys are the reason I'm here, right? This is so much more fun with you guys when I get up at 4:30 and I know that you guys are here. I get up. I love it. Yaroslav, I have a photo of someone's barefoot print, Somerset Street in -4. Might be yeah, if I went into the city and went downtown, that would probably be me, but you're only going to see me in the West End. I try to stay away from traffic as much as possible, and I stay out in my little corner of the country. Yes, thumbs up, Harry. Thanks a lot. So, team, enjoy your Saturday. If you got a fall fair you can check out, right? Go take your family, go be present. Maybe be the weirdo that walks around barefoot. Spencer, yeah, it'll be a longer discussion. I agree. I prefer barefoot anyway, regardless. Yeah, I've seen you doing a lot of lifting barefoot. It makes sense, right? All right. Have a great day, team. I love you guys. You know we're here tomorrow. Come join us on school. That's where the magic happens, especially on Monday morning, 6 a.m. See you later, team. Have a good one. Peace.